Hells diddly hails. Neighborino. It's, it's Jim. I assume you knew that going into this, but if not, then best to get things off to a promising start, right? You are, okay, pleased to meet you. And today we are going to discuss the Quest for Metal 20 questions. We were actually going to do this last week, and I was apprised of it via some other source, and so I went through someone's video and scrupulously wrote down the questions, and then I lost him. What are you going to do? A dog ate my homework. But it turns out he's got the questions posted right up here, so good work. Now, also, I just wanted to throw a quick shout out. Good work to this guy for, taking someone's stupid Revolver magazine premise and spinning it off into, some actual, somewhat innovative idea. Now, that said, within the first 10 seconds of this video, I heard him call himself Uncle Questy, and I'd be like, yo, here's a pro tip. Never trust a man that calls himself Uncle anything, including your uncle. Now, conversely, Jim Dempsey here, for the purposes of this video, before I found out it was on the telephone, I came equipped with my paper and pen, even though I don't have the notes. Now, the guys that have been in combat, that have been in the shit, will tell you that you never know who's gonna hold and who's gonna break, right? When it starts hitting the fan, you'd never know which one's gonna be the guy that's gonna keep the unit together and which guy is just gonna go full on Hudson on you. We're fucking dog meat, man. We're dead. We're dog meat, right? Now that said, when you see a man wears a watch and you know that he always has a pen handy, that's a good predictor of a kind of guy that you want behind you in the S when it starts to, go down. I hope I'm in that position, because I plan to push you in. But other people may be more reliable, assuming they always have a pen handy. Now, all that said, so, Uncle Questy, you know who this guy looks like? He looks like, doesn't he? Just a little? No? But, you know who else he looks like? Because, I gotta say, in all honesty, we all look the same to me. I walk by a mirror and I'm like, the fuck you looking at? Handsome bastard. And, Uncle Questy's queries, that was what, it was sent to me as, was, you should do the Questy's queries. And I said, is that a new Cubert? I got super excited. And, what band shaped your taste more than any other? Now, when I was first writing these questions down, I was like, bro, I could spin about 3 of these questions each into one full individual episode of Jim offering some just general philosophical sort of content for you to ruminate on and perhaps be edified by. But I'm going to do these as quick as possible for the purposes of this video here, and just respect your time. We're all busy people, right? We're all busy men here. Phil tells me that my audience is 100% men, so I can freely drop the essay joke. Well, he didn't actually say I could do that part, but he said, yeah, the audience is 100% men. And I was like, I am dropping some inappropriate jokes, bro. We're going down the oral road. The lap job is always better when the stripper is tied to the chair and begging for her life. I just want to see my children again. I don't even know who you are. Dear God, please. That's the kind of thing Phil doesn't want me to do. Now, what band shaped my taste more than any other? Arch Enemy. I was a little bit of an Arch Enemy fan. In the Johann era, it ended precisely with Angela. Not because of Angela, because I realized what I was doing to myself. One day I was listening to Stigmata, which was my favorite Arch Enemy album, and I had this out-of-body experience. I looked over and I said, this is music for people that enjoy soccer. I could take this album to the gay bar and they'll be like, no, we like manly stuff. Take that womanly thing and go to the hen house with that. Alright? So, after that moment, and this was, mind you, in about 2001, I could never again listen to Arch Enemy, or Dark Tranquillity, or In Flames, or Hypocrisy, or Entombed, or just anything in that fruity-ass European vein. Nothing against the fruity, it's just not the fruity European. A band that sounds better live than on record. Suffocation. If you have ever had the pleasure of seeing Origin with John, holy fucking shit. That is probably, including the many various times I've been leveled by Suffocation, the most crushing I have ever seen any live performance was the times that Origin had John, and it's not anything like that when it's got anyone else behind the drums. What is an album that rewards repeated listens? Upheaval of satanic might. Every time you listen to that album, it's like you're hearing black witchery, and it's good. Name a metal album that helped you through a difficult time. Oh, I skipped one, I'm sorry. If you could recommend one album to a non-metal fan, I would recommend The Odinist. Because they always complain about the vocals. So give them one where it's buried super deep in the mix and it's got some subliminal sheen to it. That is a very ear-friendly album. And that, I think, was kind of the point, because that was right after Mort, if I remember that timeline correctly. Name a metal album that helped you through a difficult time. One time I went to work kind of sick and very hungover, and I said, walking in, I need to hear The Gathering Wilderness this morning to get me through this day. It helped. If I'm going through a difficult time, though, if I have a cold, if I have a virus, I will listen to Slayer, because my wife says, you don't seem sick when you listen to the fast music. It gives me an energy. What can I say? But if I'm feeling it in the emotional dumpster fire, then I'll be rocking Sloop John B. And what is a band I'll always defend? A band that does not need me to defend them, because I'm not an advocate for anyone else's band. I've learned that lesson when I've been burned. Slayer! Morbid Angel! Oh, I actually do defend the fact of that horrible Morbid Angel album, even more than the one after it, just because it's Morbid Angel, and if it's gonna suck huge. But when Slayer got Gary Holt and did not just retire immediately upon the exit of Jeff, I said I will never defend a band. It's not worth it. It's like being Henry Rollins with Black Flag tattooed on your fucking neck. Did he have a friendly exit from that band? I don't actually pay attention to that kind of shit. But if he got fired and regretted it, then that would be interesting that he had that tattoo. Anyways, yeah, the band is Blasphemy. Blasphemy is like Donald Trump. It's this crazy circus sideshow clown car bullshit that you just are appalled by, but what shit are you gonna talk? It's fucking immortal and it will bury you. And no one cares what you think when you are talking about it, because what you're talking about is way more entertaining than anything you're gonna say about it. So yeah, Blasphemy defies memes because they are the meme. An album where the deep cuts are better than the hits. I don't listen to a lot of albums with hits, but Big D and I independently arrived at the same conclusion that on the album Number of the Beast, the two least necessary songs are Run to the Hills and Number of the Beast. And that from someone who listens to Maiden fairly frequently, and especially Clive Barrera, just only 3/4 of Number of the Beast. Specifically quarters 1, 3, and 1, 2, and 4. An album, a band you wish would stop making music. I'm gonna put a pin in that. An album where the production holds back the songs. I'm gonna put a pin in you for that. That's a terrible question. Production holds back the songs? However, an honest assessment from my broad experience would be the two albums that I most remember people bagging mercilessly were Onward to Golgotha and Breeding the Spawn. And Onward to Golgotha has maybe been remastered or something, but people still talk shit on Breeding the Spawn. And I don't know if they never remastered it, they just re-recorded all the songs independently. And it takes us to an album that defines a genre perfectly. If you need to explain a genre to someone that has no idea of it, and only can give them enough of an idea as one album, De Mysterious is black metal, Legion is death metal, or self-titled deicide, and Sludge would be Take As Needed for Pain. An album I respect more than enjoy. I don't know if I understand that one, because if I respect it, why don't I enjoy it? I respect Death up through spiritual healing, and I don't even respect it that much, and I never enjoy it that much. Name a band where the side project rivals the main act. Could have been a lockup to Napalm Death. But welcome back to that. Best metal band you discovered by accident? Technically Profanatica, because I first discovered them through that Fuck All Norse black metal ad in a little blurb in Pit magazine, like years before I actually listened to it. Because I'm old enough to be skeptical of the internet, and so when it first came around, probably when you could have listened to Weeping in Heaven, I didn't, because you would have had to do it on the internet, and I was just not doing that shit. I did not listen to music on the internet until within the last 10 years, and I did not listen to music on the internet that I don't also own on CD until probably within the last 2 years. 4 years tops. When you get old, years begin to blur. But also, another excellent band I totally discovered by accident is Vobiscum, because they had a really cool CD cover. The front cover is a blue sky, and the guy in full corpse paint going like that. At an airplane passing by, and I can only imagine how long they had to stand on whatever promontory or peak or precipice to catch that shot with the plane hanging overhead, because it don't look like photoshopped. It looks like an actual photo of him pointing where the airplane is flying at. And I grew up not far from a pretty big airport, and you don't just get planes flying overhead like that, regularly. You'd have to be ready for it. And we are on an album of one that I could erase from a band's discography. It would be more of a challenge for me to name a band that I couldn't erase one album from their discography, and that band would be Archon and Faustus. Antaeus, maybe. But yeah, I mean, almost any band. I could delete an album from Black Witcheries. Like, 2 would be sufficient. A band I loved early on and now can't stand. Fucking Machine Head. I didn't love them, but I really liked Burn My Eyes and The More Things Change both. A band you hated early on and now love is All of Your Moms when they're in a band. I don't know. I didn't like Slayer the first few years that I heard them, and I love them now. So that's probably a good example. It took me a little while to get into Slayer. A popular metal band I can't get into. Almost most of them, yeah, like all of them. What's the most? So I like Slayer, and I like Maiden, and I like Black Sabbath, and beyond that, I almost just like albums from popular bands. And then the most popular bands I think that I enjoy would probably be, like, you know, obviously Morbid Angel and Deicide, and then like Mayhem and Satyricon, I suppose, is pretty fucking huge. Incantation has blown up a lot in the last 10 years. But, you know, shit of that sort. Popular, as it were. And, God, I'm sorry, I'm taking too long to focus on this stuff. This must be very captivating. But a band that I can't get into, a band that I love for reasons beyond music. I'm going to put a pin in that one because that is something I can't even address at any brevity. I have to discuss that at great length. My favorite album before I got into metal. I only have a list of a few albums I had before I got into metal. I was pretty young getting into metal, and I didn't have a whole lot of albums before that. So, let's see. I had Paula Abdul's album, and Michael Jackson's Dangerous, and Belle Biv DeVoe's remix of the album Poison, but not the album Poison. And, yeah, I didn't have a lot, I'm going to be honest. But that was what I was listening to while I was waiting to get into heavy metal, waiting to be able to access it of my own free will and agency, biding my time at like 10 years old. And we are at the end here, I think. My all-time favorite album. That's a bullshit question. I do not have an all-time favorite album. I have a favorite album at a given time. And oftentimes a favorite album from a certain band at a given time. For instance, my favorite Iron Maiden album is whichever one I'm listening to, but I'm only listening to the first 11. And that probably applies to Slayer, although my favorite Slayer album is Divine Intervention, or Hell Awaits. And, what was the one I pinned on? Which band needs to stop making music? Yo, most bands need to stop making music. If you put out music in a year starting with 19, you're done. Pack it up, go home. If you put out music in a year starting with 2000, I'm honestly at the point of like, if you had music that you put out before COVID, you should pack it up and go home. We're all done here. People need to stop making music, because delete one album from a band's discography, bro, Revenge, I will defend 3 Revenge albums. That's nuance. You like that? Who's gonna, like, cut off Revenge, right? Deicide, tolerable with Hoffman's. You can cut off Deicide anywhere up to the first 7, but if you cut off Deicide at any point after the Hoffmans leave, I'd be like, why bother? Just listen to the AI cover shit. Like, I'm not even dismissing it. I'm sure it's a lot better than 90% of what's out there, but it's also like does not begin to compare to like what's already available, of which there's a whole fucking bunch. I just gave you 7 deicide, right? Cannibal Corpse, my cutoff goes back farther every year, honestly. I'd be like, initially I just dropped off with Gore Obsessed, and now I'm like, kind of probably just need that first one maybe. It's more interesting by the time. I didn't like that one when I first heard it. A lot of things take time to develop with me. But anyways, we're talking about bands that need to stop, and that's my take is, dude, just fucking stop. Unless you're a little kid. Let the kids do it. Let them try and fail. They can't do what we did, so they're going to do something different, and it will be something different. But what we had is over and done with. And that's what I'm here for, more than anything else. I do like to talk about this, but we need to be talking about it in past tense, and that is its own conversation, which I'm here to spark. I'm Jim Dempsey, clapping back on a British man, like a good American does. So, God bless the United States of America, except Minnesota. They've been in real fucking trouble for the last, 6 years running? Sell them to fucking Canada, bro. You know what? We were kicking ass at 48 states. People will be like, oh yeah, well, it was a lot better for black people back then. You know what? By every single metric measurable, except the esteem of white people, it was better for black people too. When America was 48 states, you know what? That does cover the 1930s, so caveats there. But in general, things seem to be going a lot better for that that period where we were 48 states than since it's been 50, right? So I'm down with Alaska, and people like Hawaii, right? Hawaii likes America. So let's sell Minnesota and Michigan to Canada, and then just be done with them. And then we'll get them back anyways when we take Canada over. And that is the word of the day. Jim Dempsey, Phil Vandervoort, and thank you for watching. Dipping out.